At any given moment, somewhere in the world, an F-16 is taking off. Not an American F-16, a Belgian one, or a Polish one, or maybe one from Pakistan, Taiwan, or Egypt. 25 countries fly this jet. That's more operators than Coca-Cola has bottling plants. So here's the question that should keep Boeing's executives up at night. How did a single American fighter jet designed in the 1970s become the most successful export fighter in history? The answer isn't what you think. It's not just about performance or price. It's about a perfect storm of timing, politics, and one absolutely brilliant design decision that changed military aviation forever. This is why the world fell in love with the F-16. And our story begins with a problem, but not the one you'd expect. In the late 1960s, the United States Air Force was flying the most advanced, most expensive fighters ever built. The F-4 Phantom could carry more weapons than a World War II bomber. The upcoming F-15 Eagle would dominate anything in the sky. American air power was unmatched, and that was exactly the problem. These jets cost a fortune. They were packed with cutting-edge technology that required extensive training and sophisticated maintenance. The F-15, when it entered service in 1976, cost about $18 million per aircraft. Adjusted for inflation, that's over $95 million today. Most of America's allies couldn't afford to buy them in meaningful numbers, let alone maintain them. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union was flooding the world with cheap, rugged fighters like the MiG-21. Simple, easy to maintain, and most importantly, affordable. America's allies were being priced out of modern air power. Enter a group of rebellious Air Force officers and engineers who called themselves the Fighter Mafia. They believed the Air Force had lost its way, that it was building expensive, complex monsters when what was needed was something simpler, lighter, and deadlier in a dogfight. They wanted a jet that could outturn anything in the sky, that pilots would actually want to fly, and that wouldn't bankrupt the countries buying it. Their vision became the Lightweight Fighter Program, and from that program emerged two competitors, the Northrop YF-17 and the General Dynamics YF-16. When the YF-16 won the competition in 1975, nobody could have predicted it would still be in production 50 years later. But here's where the story gets interesting. The F-16 that first flew wasn't the F-16 that conquered the world. That original jet, the one the Fighter Mafia dreamed up, was a pure dogfighter. It had no radar, it carried only short-range missiles and a cannon. It was designed for one thing: turning tight circles in the sky and shooting down enemy fighters. It was brilliant at that role, but it was also fundamentally limited. Then something remarkable happened. The Air Force realized that a cheap, lightweight fighter was only useful if it could do more than just dogfight. So they started adding capabilities. A radar went into the nose. Hard points were added under the wings for bombs and air-to-ground missiles. The cockpit was upgraded with better avionics. What emerged was something unprecedented, a relatively affordable fighter that could do almost everything. It wasn't the absolute best at any single role, but it was very good at all of them. And that versatility would prove to be the secret weapon. In 1975, 4 NATO countries, Belgium, Denmark, the Netherlands, and Norway, were looking to replace their aging F-104 starfighters. They needed something modern, something capable, and something they could actually afford. They called it the deal of the century, and defense contractors from across the Western world were salivating. France offered the Mirage F1, Sweden pitched the Saab Viggen, and America put forward the F-16. The competition was fierce, but the F-16 had an ace up its sleeve, actually several aces. First, the price. Even with all its added capabilities, the F-16 was significantly cheaper than competitors with similar performance. Its single engine burned less fuel and was simpler to maintain than twin-engine designs. Its modular construction meant parts could be swapped quickly. Second, and this was crucial, America offered an unprecedented deal: production work-share. Instead of just buying finished jets, these countries could build major components themselves. Belgian factories would manufacture the wings. Danish companies would produce the tail sections. This wasn't just about economics, it was about sovereignty and jobs. Politicians could tell their citizens they weren't just buying American, they were building European, even though the design was thoroughly American. Third, the F-16 came with access to American training, American weapons, and most importantly, American doctrine. Countries weren't just buying a jet, they were buying into the most sophisticated military ecosystem on the planet. When Belgium bought F-16s, their pilots could train alongside American pilots. Their maintenance crews could learn from the best. Their air forces could integrate seamlessly with NATO operations. The F-16 wasn't just a fighter jet, it was a key to a club. The four countries chose the F-16, and suddenly General Dynamics had the foundation for a global empire. But there's another reason countries kept choosing the F-16, one that's more subtle but perhaps more important. It's what military planners call operational flexibility. But what it really means is this: the F-16 grows with you. Consider the case of Israel. When they first received F-16s in 1980, they were impressive but relatively basic jets. Israel, however, didn't just fly them. They modified them, experimented with them, and pushed them to their limits. They added their own avionics, their own weapons, their own electronic warfare systems. The F-16's design was open enough and modular enough that Israel could turn it into something uniquely their own. When Israeli F-16s destroyed Iraq's nuclear reactor at Osirak in 1981, they were carrying conformal fuel tanks that extended their range far beyond what the original designers had envisioned. The jet adapted to Israel's needs. This adaptability became one of the F-16's greatest selling points. Countries weren't locked into a single configuration. As threats evolved, as technology improved, as budgets changed, the F-16 could evolve too. A country could buy a basic Block 15 model, then upgrade it years later to Block 50 standards with new radar, new weapon systems, and new capabilities. This meant the F-16 wasn't just a purchase. It was a platform for the next 30 years of air power. Few other jets offered this kind of flexibility. Then there's the matter of geopolitics, and this is where the story gets complicated. The F-16 became more than just a weapon. It became a diplomatic tool, a symbol of alliance, and sometimes a reward for cooperation. When Egypt signed a peace treaty with Israel in 1979, part of the deal included American military aid. Egypt received F-16s, lots of them. Today they operate over 200. Was this because the F-16 was the perfect jet for Egypt's needs? Partly. But it was also because F-16 sales cemented Egypt's shift from the Soviet sphere to the American one. The same pattern repeated across the world. Pakistan got F-16 as a reward for helping fight the Soviets in Afghanistan. Turkey got them as a NATO ally guarding the southern flank against the USSR, Jordan, Bahrain, Oman. They all received F-16 as part of broader strategic relationships with Washington. But here's what's fascinating. Even when the geopolitics were messy, countries still wanted the F-16. Pakistan's relationship with America has been turbulent, marked by sanctions, embargoes, and mutual distrust. Yet Pakistan calls the F-16 its most prized fighter and has consistently fought to acquire more. Why? Because when Pakistani pilots fly against Indian Su-30s or Mirage 2000s, they trust the F-16 more than anything else in their inventory. That trust, built over decades of operations, is worth its weight in gold. Of course, the F-16's success isn't just about economics and politics. It's also about the jet itself. Pilots love it, and in military aviation, that matters enormously. The F-16 was the first production fighter with a fly-by-wire control system, meaning computers translate the pilot's inputs into control surface movements. This allowed designers to create an aircraft that's inherently unstable, which sounds bad until you realize that instability makes it insanely maneuverable. The F-16 can pull 9 Gs, it can point its nose almost anywhere in the sky, and it does all of this while feeling intuitive to fly. Pilots sit in a reclined seat under a bubble canopy that gives 360-degree visibility. The side stick controller, instead of a traditional center stick, was revolutionary and has been copied by almost every fighter since. When you combine this with a thrust-to-weight ratio greater than 1, meaning the jet can accelerate while climbing straight up, you get an aircraft that feels alive. Pilots don't just respect the F-16, they love flying it. And countries know that pilot morale and confidence matter. And today, more than 4,600 F-16s have been built, and they're still in production. Lockheed Martin, which absorbed General Dynamics Fighter Division, is building new F-16s for countries like Slovakia and Bulgaria right now in 2026. Think about that. A design from the 1970s is still competitive enough that modern air forces are choosing it over more recent alternatives. How? The answer is continuous evolution. Today's F-16 Block 70/72, also called the Viper, shares a name and a basic shape with the original, but it's a fundamentally different machine. It has an AESA radar, advanced electronic warfare systems, a modern glass cockpit, conformal fuel tanks, and the ability to employ the latest American weapons. It can share targeting data with other aircraft and ground forces in real time. In many ways, a brand new F-16 is more capable than early model F-35s, and it costs half as much. But the F-16 story is entering a new chapter, one marked by uncertainty. The F-35 Lightning II is America's new export champion, and it's specifically designed to replace the F-16. Countries like Poland and Finland are choosing the F-35 over new F-16. The calculation is changing, yet the F-16 endures, especially in countries that can't afford or don't need the F-35's stealth and cutting-edge sensors. There's also a fascinating second-hand market emerging. As wealthier nations retire their F-16, they're selling them to smaller air forces. Croatia bought used F-16 from Israel. Argentina is negotiating for retired Danish F-16. The jet has become the Toyota Corolla of fighters. Reliable, affordable, and available everywhere. So why do foreign countries like using America's F-16 so much? They like it because it hit a sweet spot that no other fighter has matched. It's capable enough to face modern threats, affordable enough for mid-sized economies to buy in meaningful numbers, and flexible enough to adapt to wildly different needs. They like it because it comes with American support, American weapons, and American credibility. They like it because their pilots trust it and their maintenance crews know it inside and out. And perhaps most importantly, they like it because for 50 years, the F-16 has delivered on its promises. It has fought in more conflicts for more countries than any fighter in history, and it keeps winning. The F-16 is more than just a successful export. It's a case study in how a weapon system becomes a global standard. It's proof that sometimes the best solution isn't the most advanced or the most expensive. It's the one that works, that adapts, and that builds relationships that last for generations. The Fighting Falcon didn't just conquer the skies, it conquered the world. And that's a legacy no other fighter can match. And if you enjoyed this deep dive and want to explore more stories of legendary aircraft, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments which jet we should cover next or what you think will finally replace the F-16. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.